Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for attending today's information session on the Certificate in Business Administration in the School of Continuing Studies at York University. So I'm the program manager for the Certificate in Business Administration and the Postgraduate Certificate in Business Administration at York University. And this is one of the programs that falls under my purview. So I'll be walking you through all of the high points about what both of these certificates have to offer. Okay, so before we get into the details about the program, I just want to get to know a little bit more about you so I can tailor this presentation as closely as possible to who's in the space and what you're looking for. So I have a few poll questions for you. So the first one is, are you a domestic or international student? So if you can take a moment to fill that out. Okay, responses are coming in. Still moving. It looks like we have 80% domestic students and 20% international students. So thank you so much. Okay. So let's move on to the next question. And that is, are you a part-time or full-time student? Okay, great. So it looks like 75% of the attendees today are interested in the part-time program and 25% are interested in the full-time program. Oh, the numbers are still changing, but there we go. There we see the poll results. Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, next question for you all. Are you planning to start the program in the summer semester or in the fall semester? Okay, so far it looks like most of you are interested in starting in the fall. Okay, perfect. So it's almost half and half actually, but a few more of you are interested in the fall. Great. And one last question, and that is, do you have a background in business? Yes or no? Okay, so I'm going to close the poll now. And it looks like overwhelmingly the answer is yes. 80% of you do have a pre-existing background in business. And for those of you who don't, not to worry, there's absolutely nothing wrong with not having a background in business to take this program. Perfect. Thank you so much for your participation in that. And that gives me a better sense of who I've got in the room here today. So for today's agenda, we're going to be talking just at a high level about York University. I'm going to walk you through the features of both of the program offering types for the business administration certificates. I'm going to give you some information about the instructional team and both of the learning formats that we offer. We'll talk about how to register, and then at the end, we'll do the Q&A. So let's talk a little bit about York University at a high level. So if you're not familiar already, York University was founded in 1959. It is the third largest institution in Canada at the post-secondary level, and we benefit from a lot of world-class rankings. The School of Continuing Studies specifically was founded about 6 years ago. And the reason for the development of this particular school within York University was to focus really heavily on the future of work and designing cutting-edge, modernized, real-world, hands-on programs that give our learners the skills, competencies, and knowledge to really hit the ground running and to be able to apply their learnings and their experiences directly into the workplace upon graduation. So we're very, very interested in and committed to very practical applied learning. So that's a little bit about York and the School of Continuing Studies. You may or may not be aware that we are in the process of constructing a new building. When we will actually be able to move into it based on what we're all experiencing with the pandemic is, a bit of an unknown at this time. But this is a rendering of what the building will look like. It is very modernized, very innovative structure. So we've been in the School of Continuing Studies. We now offer well over 20 professional programs. We've experienced well over 1,000% enrollment growth in the 5 years that we've been running. And a lot of that is attributed to the reputation that we've been able to establish very quickly. And a lot of that comes from the relationships and the involvement of top industry professionals working alongside us to build the best possible programs. So who are our students? Our students are a very diverse and eclectic group of learners. So we have students who are beginning their career, who are looking to change careers, who are either new or aspiring managers. We have working professionals, people who are well into their career, and leaders in their fields respectively. So it's a really dynamic and diverse mix of learners. So before we get into the specific details about exactly how these programs are structured, I want to go through at a high level what some of the key program features and benefits are that our certificate programs are designed to offer you. So we offer programs in multiple delivery formats, and that gives our learners maximum flexibility in terms of choosing the model that works best for your life. So our part-time and full-time options, as mentioned, are available. Full-time options are delivered during the day, during the week, whereas part-time online provides a lot more flexibility for balancing personal and professional priorities. Our programs are offered in a condensed format. So this is a feature that we focus on throughout the School of Continuing Studies, is delivering programs that are as accelerated and focused and targeted as possible. So what you will find is that a lot of the certificates in the School of Continuing Studies are accelerated, and you're able to complete them in a faster time period than you might at another institution. Most of our programs, or our programs in this case for business, are 5 courses in the case of the part-time certificate and 8 courses in the case of the full-time certificate. So that means that you can validate your business skill set within just 8 months full-time or 10 months part-time. Our programs are also offered in a cohort model. So what that means for you is that you'll be starting your program with the same group of students that you will progress through the program with from start to end. And that offers a number of different benefits. So one of those is that there's stability in scheduling. And what that means is that when you sign up for one of our programs, you know exactly what your schedule is going to look like. It gives you the ability to manage your time and to plan your life over the course of the program. There's no unknowns. You don't have to worry about courses potentially not being offered or being canceled or not being available. So there's a lot, it offers you a lot of stability. Secondly, is that this allows us to build programs that flow logically from start to end. And what that means is that all of the students in our programs are beginning the program at the same place, and the courses logically progress from one to the next. So there's continuity, there's consistency in the curriculum, and there's a logical progression and a logical build in the complexity of the content that you're receiving. And what that means in terms of not being able to take a course here and a course there is that you're on the same page with your peers and you're all progressing together. And what that allows us to do in terms of delivering our programs is to create programs that are actually more complex and that result in higher levels of learning outcomes for our graduates, because we're able to build in increasingly more advanced content. It also offers our students lots of opportunities to build connections, both personal and professional, to become a community of support where you can form study groups and support each other through the program. And you really have that kind of supportive community behind you as you work through your education. So fourthly, as I've touched on already, our programs are developed by leading industry experts. All of our programs are overseen by a program advisory council or advisory board. And what this means is that we bring together senior level professionals to really guide and direct us on what they are looking for as hiring managers and as employers in the field, to make sure that our curriculum is the most current and relevant that it can be, and that it's keeping up with labor market demands. And then lastly, and I would argue most importantly, we hire our instructors from industry. We hire top industry experts, practicing professionals. Our instructors teach as a passion. They are not teaching as their primary mode of employment. They're working in the field, and this is something that they're doing most often as a way to give back to their professional communities. And what that means for our students is that you're learning from people who are really at the top of their game and at the top of their career, and are able to make the curriculum very dynamic, exciting, very real world and realistic. And it also helps you to build more connections and networks outside of York University with prospective employers. So giving you a bit more information about our instructional team, this is who is represented in our instructor pool. These are our business administration instructors, and you can see that we have a very large and very strong team here, bringing very high levels of credentials, very high levels of expertise. So we're so very fortunate to be working with them. And then on this next slide here is a sampling of some of the organizations that these instructors represent. So you can see here that there are a lot of large multinational firms, Fortune 500 companies, that they're bringing their experience from into the classroom experience. Okay. So let's take some time now to talk about the two different formats, both full-time and part-time, that the business certificate is delivered in. So giving you a high-level comparison, the part-time or online program is made up of 5 courses, as you can see: business strategy, accounting, marketing, human resources, and project management, in that order. As compared to the full-time offering, which is currently being delivered in a live online format because of COVID. And this program is made up of the same 5 courses, plus an additional 3 courses. So one is business fundamentals, business communications, and then a capstone. And the capstone ties together all of the knowledge from the previous 7 courses into a final project, which is completed through a simulation. Now, the project management course offered in both of these program delivery models counts towards the training requirements for the PMP, or Project Management Professional designation, through the Project Management Institute, if that's a designation that you are interested in pursuing. One quick thing, actually, I'm just going to skip back about the live online format. So typically our full-time program would be delivered in the classroom on campus. Obviously, because of COVID, that's not a possibility, hence the live online delivery via Zoom. So looking at the application process, it is different depending on which program you're interested in. If you're pursuing the part-time online program, it is direct open enrollment, which means that you can self-select and you can directly enroll into the program via our website. You don't need to apply, okay? And you would be receiving a certificate at the close of your program upon successful completion. For the full-time or live online offering, there is an application that is required, and it is competitive entry. So what that means is that this is not a first come, first serve kind of application process that you'll be following. It is a competitive entry, okay? So if you are an international student and English is not your first language, you will need to have an IELTS score of a minimum of 6.0. You would also need to demonstrate that you have a prior degree or diploma and an average of 60% or higher in your academic achievement. And upon the conclusion of this certificate, you would be awarded the postgraduate certificate in business administration. So looking at a sample of what your week might look like, this is the live online full-time sample schedule. So this is not an actual schedule, but just to give you a sense of what you can expect. In the full-time schedule and offering, we run 2 courses at a time, which means that you would be taking, let's say, marketing and business at the same time on alternate days. So on Mondays and Wednesdays, you might have marketing. Tuesdays and Thursdays, you might have business strategy. Your classes would be at the same time each day. So here we've noted 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. There are no classes on Fridays. The exception to that is if you're a returning student from another one of our certificates, perhaps in human resources or in accounting, and you have transfer credit and advanced standing, you may have some substitution courses on the Friday. Okay, so what you can expect is that each course will be meeting for 6.5 weeks. So each course is 13 sessions long because you're meeting 2 times per week, as we've mentioned. And each of those classes is in a 3-hour block. So you have 3 hours of class time per course per week. Now, your attendance in these classes is mandatory. So if you're in the full-time live online program, you will need to be on Zoom from 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Every day that you have class in that week, okay? You will receive this presentation at the close of today's info session. And what you can see here is there's a little YouTube video where you can learn more about York University's live online format. I'm not going to show that video in this session, but you're welcome to view that after the session. Now, this is a sample of a part-time or online schedule. And so what you can see here is that how you would manage your time if you were to take the part-time online schedule is essentially entirely up to you. In the part-time schedule, you're completing 1 course at a time instead of 2. And the program is asynchronous, which means that there are no mandatory live components, i.e., you don't have to be on Zoom on a particular day and time according to a regular schedule. So how you dedicate your time to completing your program is up to you, but it is important to keep in mind that there are due dates. So, if you decide that it's going to take you 5 hours to complete a particular assignment, if you want to spend all of that time on one day or divide that time over 3 days, as long as you meet the deadline, that's completely within your control. Now, one thing I should mention about the part-time online program is that your instructors will likely offer some optional live Zoom sessions, which are opportunities where you and the instructor and your classmates can meet live online over Zoom in real time to talk about the course, to answer questions, to engage in any dialogue. That is completely optional to you if you want to participate in those optional live sessions or not. A lot of people find them to be very enriching and find them to be really good learning opportunities, and they really like to have the opportunity to actually meet their instructor and to meet some of their classmates in that kind of virtual setting. But whether or not you choose to participate in that is entirely up to you, because on its face, this is a part-time online fully asynchronous program. So whether you choose to engage in the live online sessions will not impact on your final grade. And if they're scheduled at a time that is not convenient for you, they are recorded and posted within your course shell, essentially. And so you can watch those back if you choose to do so. Okay, so just a synopsis of what you can expect. So with the full-time live online program, as we've been talking about, these are instructor facilitated in a live real-time manner. In the part-time online program, they are instructor facilitated, but it is not live, right? Except for those optional sessions that I mentioned. With the full-time live online program, you'd be looking at about 12 hours of in-class time per week. Whereas with the part-time online program, you're looking at about 8 to 10 hours of effort per week. So that's the amount of time that you would want to budget in your schedule. Full-time live online is 2 courses at a time. Part-time online is 1 course at a time. Full-time live online is 8 months to complete, and that's because you're completing the 2 courses at a time. Part-time online is 10 months to complete, as you're completing 1 course at a time. Both programs have assignments and assessments that are very hands-on and practical and tied to industry, as I've been mentioning. And both programs, when and if they have exams, will be open book and non-proctored. That said, though, there are very few exams, and there's actually no midterms in this program. Because we found that memorization is not a fantastic measure of skills and competencies in our learners, and that a much more effective way to assess whether you've achieved the learning outcomes is through practical application. So just a word on some additional opportunities that are available to our students as York students and students of continuing studies is that there will be regular and ongoing webinars, panel discussions, and guest speakers that will be available to you, and you'll receive invitations to those. We do some in-course simulations. You'll find particularly in the full-time program, we do a couple of simulations using the interpretive simulations platform. So that gives you some very engaging learning opportunities. There will be a number of industry-based projects based on real-life challenges that you may encounter in the workplace. Our students are also eligible and have free access to LinkedIn Learning, so you can supplement your training with LinkedIn Learning modules if that's of interest to you. We also have a platform called 10,000 Coffees, and for those of you who are not familiar with this platform, it's a virtual networking platform. And what the system will do when you register for it is match you each month with a new series of professionals that, based on your profile, line up with your career goals and objectives. And the system will make those introductions for you should you wish to, reach out and connect with them to really go about building your professional network. It's a great platform. I definitely recommend it. Another opportunity that we have available to our students is the Entrepreneurship Initiative, and this is through Innovation York. This is an internal partnership, and what this allows you to do is if you want to add on some optional training and support in entrepreneurship and launching your own business, you can do that through Innovation York. There is an additional cost to add that onto your program. I believe the cost is roughly $1,000 extra. But if you go to the link there at the bottom, innovationyork.ca for entrepreneurs, you can learn more about what's available and what would be included in that program. So a quick word on how to register. It's very straightforward. If you go to our website, continue.yorku.ca, and then the link there is to the business administration page, you will see that there are two options, one being the certificate in business administration online, and then the second being the postgraduate certificate in business administration full-time. And this is our contact information. We're not currently on campus physically, but these are the numbers that you can reach us at, as well as our email address and website. So if you have any questions or concerns, this is the best way to connect with us.